tell.
Hello.
Use the force, Luke.
What you talking about, Luke? Marcia.
What's up now? Spider friends, go for it!
Transform and roll out.
And I'll form the head. That's what she said.
Don't.
Hey, this is Jonathan.
And this is Allan, and welcome to the NerdInMePodcast. Jonathan, what are we talking about today?
Allan, today we're talking about WandaVision Episode 7, Breaking the Fourth Wall.
So before we start, Jonathan, spoiler alert, obviously, but we've done this before. This is Episode 7, Jonathan. From what you saw, has anything changed in your mind in regards to your assumptions?
A few things. Like, I didn't know... I really didn't suspect until last week that Hayward was going to be like a quasi-bad guy or however you want. I just thought he was just like a by-the-books director type person, you know?
What makes you think he's a bad guy?
Well, you know, because Monica sets it up like, you know, this is all Hayward. He wants the Vision. He wants to make the Vision a weapon. They were trying to bring him back online and make him a weapon. He's going to pretty much nuke Westview to get the Vision back. Not nuke him literally, but, you know.
Okay.
Monica says something along the lines like he'll burn his whole town down or something like that to get the Vision.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Any other thing? Like anything else changed in your mind?
Nothing that popped. I mean, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you I didn't like this episode.
Oh, okay, cool. I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, I didn't like the episode. It's just we're too close to the end for the Darcy nonsense.
Yeah.
And when it's getting heavy, and look, I like that creepy vibe and all, but when they were getting heavy and things were getting serious, they cut over to a Darcy Vision road trip scene. And I'm just like, this is stupid.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of bothers me. And I think part of also not liking is, you know, part of the fun of the rewatch and us discussing is kind of guessing at what's going to happen and new questions that were brought up. I don't know that any new questions were brought up, and some of the major things that happened in this episode, we did kind of guess, so I wasn't surprised by it.
Right.
And not that they were hard guesses, you know, I'm not Kreskin. I'm just saying, you know, I think if you read the comic books, you knew who Agnes was. You know, just you knew who Monica was going to be, and they just kind of proved that right in this episode, and it wasn't like shocking or like that end when she goes, it was me the whole time. You know, I killed the dog. That's supposed to be like an oh my god moment. I'm sure it was for people that didn't, you know, our casual viewers, but, you know, we talked about when that dog was killed, we both said, oh, Agnes killed the dog.
Yeah, the reveal was funny because, yeah, you're right about that. Because they went a little over the top with the reveal. Hey, I'm Agatha, and they gave her this whole song and dance thing. Right. And it was like, all right, well, it wasn't that much of a surprise. But, yeah, you're right. Maybe if you're not a comic book reader, that maybe this would have been like one of those holy smokes kind of moments. Mm-hmm. I'll ask my daughter when she watches it, because she, you know, obviously she didn't read the comic books, but she has been following the episodes. But yeah, this episode, I think the previous ones I rewatched, not necessarily immediately, but at least 2 or 3 times before we recorded. And this is where one of those episodes, as I was watching, I was saying to myself, okay, good, okay kind of episode, but if you had to compare it to the other ones, this one probably is the lowest of them because there wasn't that much intrigue. Some questions, but yeah, this one just, the tone felt really weird. I almost felt like I kind of liked it when they're still back doing sitcoms, you know?
Right, and it felt kind of directionless too.
Yeah, it was almost like they were stalling in this one, right. And they probably could have pulled off maybe. They probably could have just used like the last 15 minutes of the show, of a 30-minute show, and they could have probably gotten the same impact, I guess.
Right. Yeah, and like I said, I don't think the whole Vision Darcy thing was. It wasn't good. It didn't make sense for what was going on. Vision's fully aware that things are weird and different. Now Darcy is. So, you know, when they're stopping at the stoplights, I'm like, why are they either commit to understanding everything's different and we need to get back to the house, or go back to being oblivious to what's going on around you. You can't. I don't understand how to do it. Like, why are you stopping at lights when there's nobody there?
Right. Yeah, it was dumb.
Why wait? Why not drive around the kids or whatever? It was just stupid things like that. And even Vision kind of falling back into doing the Modern Family, talking to the camera thing until he realizes what am I doing? Look, he was almost out. He was almost dead. He woke up knowing he shouldn't have been there. He recognized Darcy. He saves Darcy by doing that, which I'm still trying to figure out how Vision can do that, how he can snap people out of it. But
my rationale with that, and I agree with you, like why was he doing that facing the camera interview? It's not logical for him, but then again at the same time I was thinking, well, maybe because he did mention something like Wanda's making us not go to the house, and maybe Wanda was influencing Vision to be sidetracked, I guess. It felt out of character because just last episode was a Halloween. It was a Halloween episode, right. And Vision was. Anytime Vision was on screen, he was aware. He was understanding what was going on, and he was very serious. And
he openly defied her.
Yeah, and that last scene that we saw him was a very dramatic scene. But both you and I said, "Whoa, what a great actor! Like this was great." And then this scene was the exact opposite. It was very cartoonish, and I think with Darcy just amplified it even more. I mean, like anything I said positive about Darcy before, I take it all back because she ruined it for me. She was terrible, and I there was nothing redeeming with her. She's like the ultimate cartoon. She's like worse than a cartoon.
I don't understand the purpose of her character in the show. I don't understand it. I just that could have been filled by any other person. You didn't need to. I mean, did they do it just so that there's a familiar face from the MCU? I don't understand why. You could have introduced a whole new character that was an astrophysicist, and it would have been, if you even needed an astrophysicist, and it would have been fine. I just don't, and you say maybe you took it as Wanda was still influencing him a bit. She says in the beginning of the episode, if their father doesn't want to be at the house, he doesn't have to be here. Like, I kind of can't control that. The beginning of this episode is her kind of realizing that she's not as in control of everything as she thought she was. And that kind of precipitates this needing a day off from the kids type of thing.
But don't you think it's out of character for her? Why isn't she as concerned? She knows what happened. She clearly knew Vision was in trouble to the point where her son said, like, he's dying. Why doesn't she have that same urgency of, okay, well, I saved Vision, now where's the follow-up? It was a weird take on her.
No, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it just felt weird that where did the concern go? No,
I think she feels the unraveling from the fact that Vision did escape, and that she had to save him, and she's totally baffled by Pietro because she knows she didn't bring him. She knows she didn't bring him back. And just the conversations they were having, it didn't feel right to her. She understands, beyond the fact that he doesn't look like her brother, that there's something about this that's not right. And I think she just finally realizes that I think it's said at some point, I don't know if I wrote it down. I don't know if it's exactly. I don't know if it's in the theme song where she says it while she's talking to the camera, that she's not as in control as she thought she was, and she doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Let me look at my notes real quick.
Yeah. No, yeah.
I wrote that she used too much energy to expand the barrier. Is that why she's losing control of the illusion?
Right.
She says directly to the kids, he's not your uncle, so she knows whoever that is, it's not Pietro. And that's what I wrote. I wrote that down. Like, Wanda does not know what's going on, and she thought she did. And I think that's just kind of that loss of control, just kind of like you think things are one way and they're not. I mean, we've all experienced that in life too, but I think it's a major scale, obviously, because she thought she was controlling all these people and in control, and this was going to be her happy little life inside this bubble. And now she's not even in control of that. So it's like that helplessness, like, well, I can't even control this world I created.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And so this show, pulling back a little bit, was based upon Family Guy. Because I did watch a YouTube before, earlier today. And I have no idea what that show's about. Do they do that talk to the camera thing in that show?
Well, Family Guy's a cartoon. I didn't get Family Guy from that.
No, it was
Modern Family.
Modern Family. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
I'll tell you right now, this is the first thing I thought. all week, because I think they released a preview. I didn't watch it, but they're like Modern Family. WandaVision goes Modern Family in this week's episode. That'd be like the headline, so I didn't watch it. So yeah, they're definitely doing Modern Family with talking to the camera. The theme song is an Office ripoff.
Mm-hmm.
And the opening credits, I think, reminded me of a sitcom from the early 2010s called Happy Endings, where the word, I don't know if you ever saw it, but when that show opened, it was like pictures of the word happy in different like public locations. Like, if there was a restaurant called Happy Fun Restaurant or whatever, they cut out the word happy. So anywhere the word happy was in real life, they would cut it out and make it like part of the title. And that's what they did with Wanda. So I noticed that right away. I thought it was funny that they used like a quasi Office theme, because obviously it's not The Office, but they do talk to the camera like they do in The Office.
Right.
So they're really grounding this in the early 2000s to 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah. Modern Family. The mom's kind of like, she acted a little bit like the mom. And I thought, the jokes are usually funnier. All the jokes that were supposed to be joke, and I don't know if this was done on purpose, but all the moments that were supposed to be joking moments, I like as part of the sitcom of it, like not the Darcy Vision quest. Oh, see what I did there?
Oh yeah.
But when she's talking to the camera and things are supposed to be funny, like you would on like Modern Family, I didn't find them funny, and I didn't know if they were supposed to not be funny, or because in the past, like we talked about how the first two episodes in the 50s and 60s were kind of funny, and even up to the Family Ties episodes, there was a little humor there, and even the Halloween episode had a couple of humorous moments. So I think it not being funny, if it was done purposefully, it's kind of brilliant, because it made me kind of uncomfortable, which we talked about the show doing.
Yeah.
I think if I liked the episode better, I'd be more impressed with the uncomfortableness, but because I didn't like the episode and I was uncomfortable, it just made for like I had to make myself rewatch this, and I rewatched this just so I watch it once normally, then I'll rewatch and take notes for our show. Right. And I had to make myself rewatch this episode today. Because
you weren't looking forward to watching it twice?
No, I was just like,
Yeah. So my question to you is that what really piqued my interest was when Vision finally meets up with Darcy with the circus stuff. Why is all the and the circus stuff happened at the very edge of Westview, right? Westview, yeah. Why is everyone moving? I thought like the further you were away from Wanda, people were just standing around.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a very good point. But again, Wanda's not in control, so maybe that was when whoever is doing this wanted Wanda to have the illusion of being in control. They made that so. Like maybe she did have control, but she wasn't in total control.
Right. Yeah.
And now this whoever, this Agatha, and I still think Agatha's an agent for something bigger. I don't think she's the main bad guy. You know what I mean? I don't think she's the devil. And I could be wrong. We have 2 episodes left. We'll find out. But I think that might be. No, because they said she's responsible. I'm like, because they could still kind of swerve it where she's trying to help Wanda, just because. They end the show with her being all sinister, but they could kind of swerve it and turn it on its head in the beginning of next episode. But I don't know.
I never took it. So far, I don't see Agnes as someone evil yet. I still haven't seen anything for me to believe that she's an evil person.
Well, the killing of the dog is probably the biggest thing. But,
well,
yeah,
maybe so.
I think she's more one of those morally ambiguous characters where I think, again, it has to do with the kids, where she's going to be like, the big explanation episode where she's like, well, we had to, I had to make sure you had kids, and I nudged you along where you needed it. Just things like that. Because even in the when she gets her kind of monsters theme at the end,
yeah,
everything they showed, like the first scene of her showing up was her helping Wanda cook the dinner for the boss,
right?
And then using the other guy that was cutting through the wall, using that guy to put doubt in Vision's head about Geraldine, which turned out to be Monica. What was the other thing?
Well, I mean, I'm not doubting she's not a manipulator. I just don't see her as the real bad guy. You know, maybe she's participating in somehow, but there's something about Agnes's character where I think so. Okay, I here's what I'm getting at. Agatha's a witch, and you know they did mention, or they alluded to, oh, she doesn't have a superhero name. And so that's where I think that Agatha may be there to kind of like say, hey, Wanda, maybe you need to use this magic to control your power, or something like that, you know, because we see Dottie for the first time in a long time, and that's when I was wondering, oh, maybe remember in that second episode, Dottie was there, and I was wondering if all those ladies, they're all witches now. You know, like this is their covenant of witches or something like that. And Agnes is the head witch, maybe, or something like that. But
that's possible, yeah.
Yeah, because Dottie, we haven't seen Dottie, and all of a sudden they're fighting outside, and Dottie's looking. I mean, she looked up. I think she was gardening, and she was looking up at them. I was like, oh, I wonder if she's in cahoots too. So, yeah, I mean, that's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I mean, I don't know. And Ralph, there has to be a Ralph, because we're finally in Agnes's house, and she brings up Ralph again, but we don't see him.
So what do you think of the possibilities? Well, Ralph is definitely going to be. We can agree Ralph is the bad guy, right? I would, or the big person that's pulling all the strings. Wouldn't you think?
Right.
Wouldn't you think?
I think so.
So who do you think are the main people or possibilities? We mentioned Mephisto, right?
Yeah, I still think it's going to be some form of the devil or a demon. I don't know if they'll fall back on anyone else like Dormammu or something.
Right, yeah. I mean, they mentioned Mephisto. I mean, Nightmare was one, or there was another person that keeps being popped up or entertained. I can't remember. Anyway, I don't know.
Let's talk about the commercial.
Commercial. What was the commercial again?
For a drug called Nexus.
Oh, depression. Yeah, Nexus.
Right.
Oh, well, yeah, that's the Nexus. That's like that. They're going back to the multiverse with that.
Right, and they're totally saying, where are my notes on the Nexus? That my thing is this: Wanda's definitely a Nexus. You know, they say things like seizing your destiny.
Yeah.
Be an anchor to reality. So she's an anchor to reality. So maybe someone's lost in a multiverse and is using her as a guidepost.
It's very possible.
You know, and Agatha's kind of helping that. You know, if you think of Galactus as the big bad, the Silver Surfer was his herald. So maybe Agnes is like the herald of this, you know, evil whatever that's lost in the multiverse that is anchored himself to Wanda and trying to get back.
Right.
And Agnes is like the herald of it.
You know what it is with this episode? I think that's bothering me. I think I'm getting a little annoyed. I mean, like, this is episode 7. It's like, oh, come on. You know, could we just move the story along? You know what I mean? It's like, it's still like...
Yeah, it felt like a filler episode.
Yeah, it's like, come on. We have 2 more left. Next episode, there has to be some major reveal, and then hopefully the final episode would be like the repercussions of that, or, you know... I don't want it to be like, okay, Ralph again next episode, and then you finally know in the very final episode, and then what? You know,
dude,
it's like,
this could totally end with Agnes being considered the big baddie, and then like a end credit scene of the last episode is, you know, kind of like when Selvig looked in the mirror in whichever movie that was, and Loki appeared. You know, we're like, oh, Loki's behind it. You know what I mean? This could be something like that, where we're led to believe to the very end that Agnes is a troublemaker and she's either get killed or captured, and we're like, oh yeah, Agnes was a bad guy, and then, you know, end credit scene, you know, fine, I'll do it myself. You know what I mean? So,
I'm gonna be annoyed if they're pointing the finger at Loki on this one.
Well, I don't think it's gonna be Loki, but I think maybe Wanda or whomever doesn't directly confront the big baddie, and like I said, we don't know it's a big baddie until at the very end, and then that'll be the big baddie of Doctor Strange too. Maybe that's who he fights. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but you're right. It felt like a filler. I mean, to be fair to them, I'm sure when they wrote this, they're like, oh, we answered two major questions. Agnes is behind everything, and Captain Marvel's going to be not Captain Marvel, sorry, Photon is going to be Photon because she completed. But to guys like us, we're like, well, we knew this already. We knew this. A lot of the stuff we knew before the show started. We knew Agnes was going to be Agatha Harkness. Yeah. And we knew that Monica Rambeau is Photon.
Right.
So those are like kind of, and I think honestly, we were all hoping to see who this aerospace engineer was that Monica knew, and it turned out to be nobody.
Wait a minute. That's who she was referring to?
That's what I'm assuming. That's who they remember. They said they're going to meet us in an hour, and that's who they met with.
Mother effer. I didn't pick up on that. I didn't realize that's who they were referring to, is that lady that she met up with.
Remember she said, oh, good, they're here? Like, that's what, remember, they were going out to meet. Whoever.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Unless I'm wrong, you know.
Oh, that's a jeez, Louise, that's a big letdown. I didn't pick up on that. Then again, I was like half asleep when I was watching it, but
yeah, and also it's kind of our fault too because we were hyping ourselves up for it to be.
Well, no, don't blame yourself. They hyped it. They purposely were doing that to us. They mentioned that person in 2 separate episodes and being very, secretive about it. So yeah. I think we have every right to be suspicious.
I just, my heart was like, it can't be Reed Richards. There's no way they're going to introduce him like that.
You know what I was afraid of, though? I was afraid it was going to be freaking, because Darcy's in it. I was like, oh, it better not be Natalie Portman with her. I would have been really pissed off.
That would have been hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say out of the 7 episodes, this has been the most disappointing. And traditional in shows like Sopranos and The Wire and all these Breaking Bad, these shows that are known to be really, really good, usually the next to last episode, the penultimate, is where a lot of stuff goes down.
Right.
Like a lot, and then like you said, like 9, like the last episode would be kind of like an epilogue, like the results of the previous episode. So maybe they'll do something like that. Maybe, maybe next week will be a huge episode and then 9 will be like the repercussions of the epilogue of it.
Hey, Darcy's not in the comic books, is she?
She might be now. I mean, when I was reading comic books, there was no Darcy.
Oh,
I don't know.
I just don't like her. Oh, you know what? It's not. Maybe it's not her fault. Maybe this is just how she's directed. She's just so phony, dude. I don't like her.
It's so.
And she brings Vision down too. Sorry.
Yeah, well, we said it last week. There's nothing about her that screams that she's this highly educated woman of purpose. Like, everything's a joke. Everything's a moment to crack a joke.
Well, it doesn't make any sense. As brilliant as she is, apparently she's this brilliant computer hacker. She's great with what she does. But when she's not talking about those kind of things, everything out of her mouth doesn't make sense. I mean, I understand what she's saying. It just doesn't match her intellect with how dumb she appears. You said it yourself. There's a stoplight. Oh, I guess we can't go anywhere. I mean, you can clearly see left and right that the streets are wide open. Why aren't they moving? And why isn't Vision doing anything about it?
I don't know that Darcy's right, because I feel like I've always liked Wu. That one episode where him and Darcy were the comedy team, that annoyed me, but I think Wu is good.
Yeah, he's grown on me, actually.
Yeah, but really I don't know. I don't mind the actress. I've seen her in things, so I don't know if I don't think it's the actress. I just think it's the way she's written, and
well, what doesn't help either is every time she's on camera, even the music was kind of like whimsical too, And I was trying to. It was a little bit of annoying to hear her talk, and the background music. It remember like when the credits were rolling in that one episode, which it was disturbing because your brain wanted to hear the seriousness of it.
Right.
And this is the same thing. Like, Vision is trying to be very serious, but the music was whimsical, and it was throwing me off, like, a lot.
I just think, except for the computer hacking stuff, she's added nothing to the show.
Yeah.
Like, she's purposeless.
Well, not unless she dies, then we can write her out. Hey, what did you think of Wanda versus Photon?
Oh, I wrote that down in my notes. Superhero landing.
Landing, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I thought it was curious.
She learned her powers really quickly, Photon. Like we were surprised of, oh my god. Well, I mean, she landed correctly, and she seemed very defiant, almost very confident that no matter what Wanda threw it at her, maybe it wouldn't hurt her. I mean,
I took that as more of her, believing Wanda's a good person. Wanda wouldn't hurt her.
She wouldn't dare her, yeah.
Like when she was outside the bubble, and she's like, you kind of let me in. You knew who I was on a subconscious level. You knew I was an agent, but you still let me in. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but dude, if that happened to you or I, and all of a sudden we stick that superhero landing with power, I'd be like, what is going on? How cool is this? How many more times I have to go in and out of the barrier to get more powers?
Well, how come she made it through the barrier and didn't change to early 2000s clothing and her mind get changed?
Yeah, I didn't understand that one either. Oh, maybe because she went through twice.
I don't know. I guess so.
I don't know.
You and I have talked before when we talk about movies on this show and other TV shows. I have no problem believing your rules. Just follow your own rules. If you tell me a man can fly, then I'm cool with that. But make sure that it's consistent with whatever rules.
Well, they made a point of it. I mean, that truck that went through. I mean, they made a point of it to say, well, have it went in, have it went out. Then why did the rule change when she tried to go in?
And it didn't change back when it popped out.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I don't know. Were we supposed to know who was on the milk carton? Because I feel like they made a point to show us that there was a picture of a missing child on the milk carton.
It was way too blurry, and I wasn't too sure if they just meant it was a time period, because that was pretty big, like 80s, 90s, I think.
Okay, well, I paused it. It was blurry. I couldn't see. I didn't know if it was supposed to be one of her kids or not, but that just kind of when everything was flipping out in her home. Like changing from different eras, like the couch and all that stuff.
Yes, yeah.
The bird pops up and he disappears in red smoke. It's the only thing that disappears in red smoke. Everything else
you're
kind
right.
of looks like it's changing a TV channel.
Yeah.
So I think that goes back to you saying that that's not the bird. Probably had nothing to do with Wanda, like her powers. Yeah,
it's something else, because even the kid, the son. Is it Tommy? I don't know, the one with the magical powers, Wiccan, whatever.
Right.
When he goes to Agatha, he's like, I like it here, you're quiet. And I took that as, again, one of those things where magic cancels magic, why is it that some things can be influenced and other things can't? I mean, that was how I saw it, like, oh, like it's two magic people, like it's quiet, they kind of cancel each other out or something.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to look at it. I took it more as she's not like he can hear the people in town because they're trapped. They're pretty much trapped in their own heads. Like they know that they're not Dottie or whatever, and they know that they're not in the 50s or the 60s or the 80s, whatever. So they're internally screaming in their head or whatever, and then that he's hearing that. And Agatha's there, and she wants to be there, and she's got a purpose. So there's no turmoil in her mind.
I like that. No, I like that one, because that's very consistent with what everyone's saying, is that like their brain's on fire and they're in pain. And oh yeah, I like that one. Okay, good one. That was good.
So this is a couple of other notes I took toward the end. When she's talking to Monica, Wanda says, well, how do you know I'm not the villain? And then she said that, I'm like, oh, well, then you're not the villain.
But how would you feel if she was,
the villain will never say, I'm the villain.
How would you feel if Scarlet Witch turns out to be the villain?
I mean, well, if they do it right, I'd be like, oh, that was great.
In House of M, doesn't she become the villain when she says no more?
She was kind of manipulated by Quicksilver. Oh, when she says no more mutants, so yeah, she totally becomes the villain.
Yeah,
but she was out of her. Well, she was mentally unstable. She was having a breakdown.
Well, there you go. How cool would that be if that's her character arc, where this is we're watching the breakdown of Wanda when she becomes Scarlet Witch, becomes
So you think this ends with her not in a good place?
I don't know. I mean, think about what she's done so far with Vision. I mean, literally like recreating a dead body. I mean, like if we were to assume from, was it episode 2 or 3 where we see dead Vision and we see dead Quicksilver, are we to assume that Wanda's covering that up as if they're real?
Well, why do we see? We're still under the assumption that she brought Vision back. Remember, this whole episode is
but she stole him. She's the one that stole him.
She did steal him. She might have been influenced to steal him, but that doesn't mean she's the one that reanimated him or anything like that. So this kind of plays into her whole idea of this episode of her feeling not in control. All right. So, the fourth wall in TV and movies is the audience. It's that wall that we're looking through to see everything going on.
Right.
So breaking the fourth wall is not just her talking to the camera, okay? But if you think about it I'm going to get trippy here, but you think fourth wall like a fourth dimension. Now we're talking about, and then you throw in the commercial of her being a Nexus. Now you're talking about, did she break the multiverse, or is someone breaking the multiverse? This is something to think about.
I wonder if all this is because every time Cap went back to return a stone, he was creating a different timeline. No.
Well, I think just
because he created his own timeline.
Well,
I mean, that's very clear.
I think it's just the actions of. We'll see. Now that's in the debate because the Russos said he created his own timeline, but then traveled back to that time, to the original timeline to give the shield to Falcon. But then the writers said that Cap. No, there was a period where there were 2 Caps in this timeline, and one was frozen most of the time.
Boo.
Yeah, so I don't know who's right. I don't know who's right. I don't know. So maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's what caused the crack. Maybe they caused the crack in the multiverse. They're going to blame it. They're going to have to blame it. Well, they're going to have to blame it on. I mean, there were 3 reality-changing snaps in 2 movies.
Right.
No, wait, there were 4. Wait a minute. Yes, there were 4.
4.
There was the original one that Thanos did to get rid of half the people.
Okay.
There was the one he did. There was the one he did to destroy the stones.
Oh, okay. You're right.
And then there was the one the Hulk did, and then there was the one Iron Man did.
Yeah.
And also, didn't the Ancient One said that, like, every reality, the stones kind of help keep things in check?
Yeah.
Well, now you have a reality with no stones in it.
No!
Because Thanos destroyed them, and then Cap brought Iron Man's back to where they belonged.
Well, that doesn't mean the stones don't exist. They don't
exist. They don't exist in 2023 after Iron Man dies. After the events of Endgame, the stones don't exist in that universe.
Huh. Okay. There you go.
So maybe that's what they call back to that. And because Wanda was there and part of it, and she got snapped away and came back, and because she's a Nexus person, she's got all this energy coursing through her, and she's got all this ability to be the anchor, to be the one constant in every universe. Who knows?
Yeah.
Which is great for Elizabeth also, because then she could be in any of these movies. She could show up in Spider-Man.
Too. Also, I wonder if this is how you explain Disney Plus's What Ifs. What If is essentially like
it's a multiverse.
It's a multiverse. Yeah. Huh. Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know where they're gonna go with this again. And frankly, I think a bigger concern for me about not liking this episode is are they not going to stick the landing? Because we talked about it last week. They have to stick the landing on this show.
Yeah.
And are the next 2 episodes going to be like this? Yeah. And is the over? And then I'm starting to think, is the over? I'm over-examining the over-examinedness of it.
Okay, so let's talk about what cards have been played already. We know who Agnes is. Mm-hmm. Photons has been revealed. Vision is now aware because Darcy told him what's been going on and what he's lost.
Right, but he said it feels like a different person.
He feels like a different person?
No, that it happened to a different person.
Oh, yeah, because he doesn't remember it, right?
Right.
But at least he's aware. He's consciously aware that what he knows now is very separate than what he experienced before. Right. Darcy's in the bubble. What else?
The boys disappeared.
Oh, the boys disappeared. Right.
Petro shows up in the end credit scene.
Right.
And I might be reading too much into this, but I looked at it closely, and he looked like he had brown hair.
Oh, really?
So is he still peeing? Well, he had a hat on.
And did you
Look at
notice
Brian
too that Monica's eyes were purple, which is
Yes,
Agatha's
which is the color
power?
of Agatha's powers, right? I put that in my notes.
Okay.
Now, was that just because when Monica does the superhero landing, it's blue? So
Yeah.
was that just a mistake by the special effects department? I don't think so.
I don't know. I just watched it literally 3 minutes before we podcast because you told me to watch it. But purple is an interesting color because Wanda's magical hexes is red. Her son actually emits a blue color. So red and blue is purple. So
So Agatha is the love child of Wanda's son and Wanda? Wait a minute. Well, that's getting really weird now.
That's weird. And then and then agent whoever wants to blow it up. So that now
Favorite, yeah.
yeah, so if he's talking about blowing it up now there's a pressure of time because obviously it's going to happen, so they have to fix something before he blows it up. So there's your pressure of time there.
Right.
So those are the cards laid out in front of us. Next episode, what are your predictions?
I don't even know. Hopefully we have some kind of witch fight between Agatha and Wanda.
Wanda, yeah.
I don't know. Did in the mid-credit scene, did Pietro come off as menacing to you?
He
busted her doing something, or
he seemed very much in cahoots with Agatha. That's my guess. That he's not like, oh, I'm Wanda's brother, but more of someone with Agatha, or something like that.
Okay.
No. So next is second to last. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be one of those. I hope it is the most revealing episode, where most things are answered and the S hits the fan, or maybe that's going to happen in the next episode, the final episode. But I hope it doesn't feel like a filler like this one did, because this one I'm watching it, I was like, oh boy, here they can't all be perfect, but yeah, again, maybe it would hit us if we didn't know the comic books that we do. And so I'm really curious to get Angelica's take on it, because she has no idea who Agatha is, and I haven't said anything to her. She's the one that asks me questions, and I'll be wait and see, watch it. She gets annoyed at me, so maybe that's who it's servicing. Maybe we just know a little too much to have that wow factor.
Okay. Yeah, hopefully. Like I said, I'm curious.
Yeah. Still fun.
Like I said, I hope they stick to landing. Hope it's not like 2 episodes. Like, it would be 3 in a row, actually, if the next 2 are really bad.
I'm confident. I mean, look how much thought that went into this series. That they just mentioned that they will have a director's cut. They're actually going to be like a show. I don't know, because you asked me if it was going to be like the details on it versus actually making the show, which I'm not that interested in. Like, I don't care about the set designs. I mean, like, oh, this is how they did this, or special effects. I want to know, like, okay, what did this mean in this scene, and what were the real kind of like Easter eggs that we should have been looking at, and where were they screwing with us? So, with all the thought they put into it, even up until this episode, which is still, decent. Oh God, Darcy. Okay, let me ask you: if they took Darcy out of this episode, would it have been better for you? Or that actress, how they directed her to play that character?
I think the character of Darcy, I don't know that anybody, if you put someone else in there with the same lines and all that, I don't know that it would be any better. Yeah,
True.
I just think she's an appendage. I don't know what she's an appendix. She's there, and she had a purpose. We just don't know what it is anymore.
So that TV show that was based upon, what was it called again? Modern Family.
Right.
That stopping at that stoplight, was there a correlation to that? Like, because there was something I was clearly missing, because I wasn't familiar with that TV show, so I wasn't too sure what the rules were.
No, I don't know that. I think the only thing they really drew from the TV show is the 2000s aesthetic, and the fact that it was
breaking the fourth wall thing.
Yeah, because because The Office did it and Parks and Rec did it. I guess The Office might have been one of the first ones to do it. And, The Office explained why there was a documentary crew for 9 years.
Yeah.
I don't think Parks and Rec did, and Modern Family didn't either. But that show was on for like 10 years, and they were always constantly sitting down and giving interviews, but not like to no one. Like they were talking to a camera.
Okay, all right.
You think that at the end they were like, oh, we were doing the American Family documentary or something, but no one came out and said anything. They just
Interesting. Yeah. This episode I felt a little disconnected. Where the previous ones it's like you felt a little bit more closer to it. You were in. You know what it was? The previous ones, even though there were a lot of questions, I felt I was still a part of it somehow. This one, it was, I was very distant.
You know what it is? The other episodes were taking us somewhere to the next thing. This episode was kind of like hit the brakes. And again, I think the episode was kind of aimless. I think they could have done the Agatha information dump and the photon information dump in next week's episode. In less time than it took. I just don't know that this episode really had a good through line of what they wanted to accomplish.
But look at the introduction of Photon. How unexciting was that?
Right. Well, I mean, she's still technically. I mean, to me, I don't even think she used her powers yet. She still doesn't know. I'm thinking.
Well, I thought they alluded to she was able to see the radio waves and things like that. I mean,
yeah, I think she was. Yeah, she was able to do that, but I don't think she knew that it's because of you know what I mean. I don't think she understood that's what was happening.
That's true, but again, it was a letdown for me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah, I think this is which is the one we didn't like we didn't like too much before this one. Well, this is definitely our least rated of the ones so far, least favorite, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's without a doubt.
It might have been that first episode with Darcy and Wu doing all the.
Yes, that is the one where I didn't like because it was more them versus what was happening in Westview, and again, Darcy was in it, and
yeah.
All right, I think we've said enough.
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything else?
No, like I said, I hope they stick the landing. I think they will, but there's a little part of me that's worried.
Uh-oh. Well,
a little part.
Can happen. It can happen.
And I got to check the runtime because I thought it was going to be an hour this week, and I woke up a little bit extra early so I could watch the whole thing before I went to work.
I was expecting it to be longer. I don't know where in my head I thought it was going to be an hour, maybe something. But it felt a little longer, even though it wasn't for some reason. I don't know.
You're bored.
All right. Hey, what's going on with Mom's Basement Collectibles?
Still posting. This week was What Ifs.
I like that one.
And I think next week will be Young Avengers.
Did you like mine? Bruce Banner returned to the Hulk only when he's happy.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe you found a picture of a happy Hulk. I was like, "Oh my god, he did it!"
that was the hardest part because someone put was it Batman? No, Captain America gets the Green Lantern ring versus the Punisher getting the yellow Sinestro.
Oh, right, yeah.
I'm like, how am I going to find a picture for that? Happy Hulk. I just type Happy Hulk in and I found one.
No, but that was a fun question. I like that one. I like it.
Yeah, it was. I got some decent responses on it too. Yeah, next week will be Young Avengers, and we'll go from there.
All right, very cool. Yeah, Dr. Indiana. I can never say it, dude. Dr. Indiana Jones is doing his thing. Major delay. I don't know if I told you. The guy that's creating the opening scene lives in I think Massachusetts, and he's like, it's snowing. I can't do the stop motion part in the beginning in the snow. I said, I know. We're just gonna have to wait. So.
Dude, we just got hit with another snowstorm. Yeah, it snowed all day yesterday and half of today.
Oh my gosh. Holy smokes. Wow. Well, maybe we can do a What If Indiana Jones. It's instead of Peru, he's in Alaska or something.
Oh, we should do a What If It Didn't Snow for 40 days and 40 nights in the East. Yeah, and finally, Allan, I want to give a shout out to, let me pull their name up, one of our buddies on Facebook. Chatting with him this week.
All right. Oh, yeah.
I can't access our Facebook page. What's going on here? Oh, there it is. All right. Dude, we got too many things. We need to hire interns. And by hire, I mean have them work for free. We'll give them like letters of recommendation.
Interns.
Or however that works. I don't know how interns work. How many messages now? All right. My God, we definitely need a social media person because I can't even find the messages on Facebook.
Well, neither can I, because I don't have Facebook.
Well, then you have a better reason than I do. All right, maybe it's there.
Well, while Jonathan's looking for that, Facebook, as Jonathan said, NerdInMePodcast, Instagram, NerdInMe, Twitter, NerdInMePodcast, YouTube, NerdInMePodcast. Jonathan just uploaded his... Dude, it almost seems like you got a weekly haul going right now with things that you've been getting.
I skipped a week because I didn't get a lot, but I made up for it with this week. And then this week, I got some really good stuff this week.
Yeah. I slowed down a little bit. I told Jonathan I've given myself a rule, one action figure a month. And January, I got Dwight Schrute, but I didn't think I was going to do a video on that one. And February, I actually got He-Man. So that was cool. He-Man with articulated knees and elbows, which is like, oh, that's pretty cool. Never had He-Man stand up before. And Firestar's on the way, so.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. All right, so Allan, our brother on Facebook is Sidro. I was talking to him. He enjoys our WandaVision breakdowns. So I want to give a shout out to Sidro.
Sidro.
Yeah, and I think he started following Mom's Basement Collectibles. He probably started following Nerd and Me and Dr. Indiana Jones too.
Oh, okay.
So Sidro, thanks for listening. We appreciate you hanging out with us weekly.
Sidro, did you write a review and give us 5 stars?
All right.
I'm sorry. Had to ask. Oh, that was fun. So yeah, next week we will be in episode 8 of WandaVision and be getting closer. Hey, do you still want to do a live show for the last episode?
No.
Oh, okay.
Because I want to watch the show. I want to be... And nobody wants an hour of dead air of us or us reacting to, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened.
Hey, people do it though. People are into it. Well,
I
I guess from an audio podcast point of view, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So no, I think it's better if we just watch it in podcast and do what we've been doing.
There you go. Okay. Very good. All right. Till next time.
It was Agatha all along.
Peace.
Peace.